An Internet Business Guide. Chapter 1. Internet Business Topics 1. Fraud Control for Business. When you take an order, run it through fraud screening software. If it gives a suspicious result, investigate further. Contact the credit card company or check to see if the customer name on the credit card made the purchase or if a fraudster did. There are address verification systems, card verification codes, velocity check, checks to see if the email address used in the transaction has made a lot of credit card transactions using that card and other cards. Beware of any order from a foreign country, especially if the products you sell aren't hard to get. Beware if the shipping address is different from the billing address. consumerweb-org/dynamic/e-commerce-take-the-money-and-run.cfm, fake online escrow services. E-commerce taxes/internet sales tax. If you run an internet sales business, you don't have to collect state sales tax for purchases by people who live out of the state you're operating from, but you have to collect state sales tax from in-state residents. There is a point of controversy here as to what defines the location of your internet business. If you run your website from one state but your offices and warehouses are located in another, it is still not clear how the state governments define what is an in-state internet business for tax purposes. The general rule of thumb, though not laid in stone, is that the state where your website is run out of, is the state where your business is located. Books about computer law are at #343.71-73 or K452 and KF390.5 at the library. vertexinc.com/cybrary/internet/articles. davidhardesty.com. salestaxinstitute.com. streamlined-salestax.com. willyancey.com/ecom. Cheapest way to go. If you're a small company just starting out, some of the big business computer suppliers lease equipment or offer monthly payments on their systems. You must determine whether the benefits of adding new technology will outweigh the cost. In some cases, it doesn't. Buy a few computer magazines like PCWorld.com. If you want to save money for website development, consider using your employees, students, local teachers, or interns to do it for you at a price far lower than what the professionals will charge. Simply tack an ad onto Craigslist or TaskRabbit. Get your postal mail scanned and sent to you as an email. Suppose you want to spend a month somewhere. earthclasmail.com, they get your snail mail rerouted to them, whereupon they scan it and email it to you. Intranets info. Intranets are networks a business sets up between the various computers within their company, only which could be thousands of miles apart. It's a private internet within an company. An extranet is when a company has online connections with the companies it does business with, like suppliers, customers, trucking, accounting, retailers, manufacturers, etc. connected.clubs.yahoo.com/office. amicus.com. destinyusa.com. egroups.com. apcentric.com. gctech.com. hotoffice.com. intranets.com. planetintra.com. sap.com. slmsoft.com. wizemo.com. Market research info about the Internet. Learn about the type of people who use the web. cyberatlas.internet.com. internet.com. internetstats.com. researchbuzz.com. wcp.occ.org. Chapter 2. Internet Business Topics 2. Click to call customer service. You put an icon on your website. The customer clicks it, fills in his phone number. A customer rep calls him immediately. estara.com. liveoffice.com. liveperson.com. Privacy seal of approval. People are paranoid about what you as an online business are collecting about them and possibly selling to other marketers. I use the search engine ixquick.com, which markets itself as the most private search engine in the world. They want to reassure people that they're not collecting their data on the searches they do to sell to someone else. If you want this reassurance, do two things. 1. Have a privacy policy on your website that says you don't sell any information on your customers to a third party. 2. Pay a fee and get to display a privacy seal of approval on your website at bbbonline.org/privacy. Trustee.com. Secure Seal of Approval. Get some of the secure site certification companies to certify that you're a secure, honest company, then put their seal of approval prominently on your website. Clearly show that your site is secure and legitimate. NACA.org, Electronic Payments Association. bbb.org. bbbonline.org. better-internet-bureau.org. bizrate.com. bizafe.com. cica.ca/webtrust, Canada. cpawebtrust.org. epublici.com. e-safecertified.com. hon.ch/honcode. internettradebureau.com. privacyalliance.org/resources/pp-guideline.html. public.resource.org, home of the seal of approval. safeshopping.org. safeshoppingnetwork.com. secure-mall.com. thepublici.com. trustee.org, trustee.com. usertrust.com. UserTrust site seal from Komodo provides unbiased avenue to build consumer trust through customer ratings and customer reviews. veribis.com. verisign.com. Secured seal gives you confidence to shop safely online. webassured.com. webwatchdog.com. onguardonline.gov/shopping.html. Online secure shopping. Use an internet payment service like paypal.com to avoid using your credit card. Citi, Bank of America and Discover credit cards offer virtual credit card numbers. You make up a one-time use only credit card number for everything you buy. Viewers can translate your website quickly. Viewers click a button and your website immediately goes to another language. It's free. Translation2.paralink.com. Web analytics/internet statistics/learn about customers. You can get software, either free or fee, that analyzes who your customers are and where they come from, whether they linked in from other websites. This can help you in your marketing efforts. Web analytics websites help you monitor your website in several ways, namely how many visitors your different advertising and publicity strategies attract. webanalyticassociation.org. google.com/analytics, free. alexa.com. ranker.com. internetworldstats.com. statcounter.com. burstmedia.com. business.realtracker.com. clicktracks.com. clickz.com/stats. comscore.com. coremetrics.com. deepmetrics.com. emarketer.com. extremetracking.com. itools.com. forrester.com. gartner.com. google.com/analytics. crazyegg.com. clicktracks.com. webtrends.com. indextools.com. internettrafficreport.com. internetworldstats.com. jupiterresearch.com. kefta.com. marketingbox.com. mycomputer.com. netratings.com. nielsen-netratings.com. nngroup.com. offermatica.com. offermatica.com. omnitour.com. onestat.com. optimost.com. optimost.com. pewinternet.com. shop.org/learn/stats.asp. stats4u.com. superstats.com. techtarget.com. uie.com. unica.com. verbinteractive.com. vividence.com. webopedia.com. websitehistory.com, webstat.com, webtrends.com, free trial software. Chapter 3. Computer Security in Business. Learn a lot about business from the U.S. Internet Complaint Center, ic3.gov. As a consumer or business person, be like me. Understand the human soul like I tried to all the way back to my days in Catholic school religion class. The evil/fraud is monumental. fbi.gov/scams-and-safety. ic3.gov/home/industry alerts. ic3.gov/home/consumer alerts choice. Computer security in business. In order to protect business interests, you have to provide computer access only on a need-to-know basis. Computer security is often compromised purposely by insiders and unwittingly by corporate employees who answer phone calls by hackers posing as computer service employees, getting what info they need to break in. There is no technology that can't be compromised. You can get pretty good privacy, PGP, but never perfect. It's a combination of technology and people behavior. You can buy security software off the shelf or hire a security consultant to set up a system for you, but you also have to set ground rules for your employees and train them on how to operate the computers to maximize security. You have to train your people to first of all be aware that there are bad people out there trying to break into computer systems, and if they sense something abnormal in their operation of the computer, to report it immediately. You have to put rules into place and make your employees practice until it's second nature. The gist of this training is to always use passwords. Verify the identity of the person they are dealing with online or over the phone and whether he or she has official authority to enter before they allow access. Half of hacking is conning employees that they're authorized to enter by posing as computer service people. Develop an official security policy for the company and put it in a manual. Periodically test your employees by trying to log past them with an email request to see how security conscious they are. Just like the military has roughly 4 categories of levels of security, you should have it too. Public domain. Restricted, it's nobody else's business but ours. Secret, important stuff. Top secret, very important stuff. The major tenets of a computer security policy are as follows. Verify user, even if he or she is a common major player in the organization. If it's a third party from outside the organization, make the verification process more stringent. Determine what the individual's need to know authority is. Have all corporate information classified and labeled into one of the above 4 categories. Train all employees about the use of computer security procedures. Have a rule that no sensitive information be transferred electronically, which means phone, fax, email, voicemail, etc. Have badges that all employees with access to the computer room must wear. Have special ones for visitors. Keep sensitive areas well guarded or secured with special keys. When a temporary worker is finished a job and full-time workers leave the company, make them assign a legal document stating that they are taking no corporate computer information with them. Make employees report all suspicious actions. Change passwords every 3 months. Get the best security software you can afford. If you're a big company, hire a full-time computer security person or department. Shred sensitive documents. Do criminal background of all potential employees. Business computer security websites. SecureWorldExpo.com, list of security awareness training companies. EasyWatchStore.com, business video security solutions. PalmVid.com, internet video security system. Anonymizer.com. Cert.org. Home.netscape.com/security. RFC-editor.org. Forums.techguy.org/security. SSH.com. Sunsolve.sun.com/patchpro. USPS.com/electronic postmark, check for email tampering. VanDyke.com. WindowsUpdate.microsoft.com. Guidelines for protecting business information overseas. The following article is a summary of a more in-depth article at state.gov. Any information that provides a U.S. company with a competitive edge over its competitors, creative or innovative, whose loss would negatively impact an investment in time, product, finances, plants, or personnel should be protected. It could be a trade secret, patent information, or intellectual property, a simple improvement in the way a certain American industry produces a product or does business, a technical modification, new technique, personnel policy or management concept, or employee human resources information. Company employees. Current government and industrial security studies and surveys reveal that the majority of competitive information theft cases that occur in the United States and overseas involve a company's employees, contractors, vendors, and suppliers. An employee's rank in the company is not necessarily commensurate with the interest of a foreign intelligence agency, who besides targeting researchers, key managers, and corporate executives, will target secretaries, computer operators, technicians, maintenance personnel. The latter frequently have good, if not the best, access to competitive information. Application of need-to-know procedures will help. Carefully compartmentalizing competitive information on that basis provides two advantages: it slows or stops an information thief, and it may provide an indicator of an employee seeking to obtain competitive information beyond his or her need to know. When local laws allow, it is prudent to conduct background investigations on prospective employees. A comprehensive background investigation can provide, prior to offering an applicant employment with a company, the best information concerning the person's social, education, military, credit, civil and criminal litigation, and employment histories. Vendors, contractors, and suppliers. Recent U.S. government and security industry surveys regarding safeguarding of proprietary information revealed that vendors, contractors, and suppliers accounted for almost 15% of all disclosures, misappropriation, and thefts of U.S. business competitive information. Generally, these groups should be controlled, documented, and required to wear a photo identification. Escorted throughout the general premises by the person they are visiting. Restricted from unnecessary admittance to high security areas, or escorted at all times. Required to sign non-disclosure and confidentiality agreements. Visitor tours. Public tours of buildings containing competitive information should be discouraged. Similarly, visitor tours of high security areas should be prohibited. All requests for tours by academic, industrial, fraternal, social, or media groups should be passed to security departments for background checks. Workplace vulnerabilities. U.S. businesses or research locations overseas are principal targets of those seeking to compromise competitive information. If possible, locate corporate offices in facilities totally controlled by the corporation. Location, location, location. Site location and construction should be the best that will allow for normal and prudent security measures. Normal security steps dictate that building perimeters and internal sensitive areas be secure, and that the general public, unescorted visitors, and unauthorized personnel be restricted from research, production, and business areas where competitive information is used. Prudent security steps dictate that existing security controls should always be reviewed for improvement or modification, and that an awareness program, as well as policy and guidelines, be established to protect competitive information. Facilities perimeter. All windows, external and internal doors, and high security areas should be provided with intrusion alarm monitoring. Alarm systems should be supplemented by lighting, as discussed below. The alarm signal must be communicated to a location where a speedy and appropriate response can be provided. The entire perimeter of any office building that serves as a perimeter barrier should be adequately illuminated during hours of darkness. Other perimeters, such as walls, fences, and natural barriers, should be illuminated to both detect and deter persons attempting to gain unauthorized access to the building. Adequate interior night lights should be left on whenever the building is not occupied. Security personnel should control perimeter and internal sensitive area access. Keys and locks supervision. Access card supervision. Employee, visitor, contractor, and vendor identification badges. High security areas. High security areas include, but are not limited to, design studios, strategic planning areas, engineering and research facilities, mail rooms, telephone switching rooms, computer facilities, and other similar areas. In general, office safeguards and possible restriction to a high security level should be provided for. Designated photocopiers. Encrypted telecommunication equipment. Facsimile machines and other reproduction equipment. If this cannot be done, the equipment should be provided with access control devices to prevent unauthorized usage. Executive offices, research labs, and work areas. Lockable file cabinets and desks and vaults to secure competitive information. Keys, combination locks, and access cards to maintain the effectiveness of these devices. Certain offices or portions thereof may require designation as high security areas if highly sensitive competitive information is present. Access is limited and entry is restricted to only those persons who possess special identification and who are specifically permitted entry. A higher level access control device is used above that operating at the perimeter of the building. A procedure, such as a receipt and copy accountability system, is established for the authorized removal of all competitive information, blueprints, drawings, and other documents contained in these areas. Storage facilities. Provide secure facilities for the storage of competitive information such as desks, offices, safes, vaults, filing cabinets, etc. Clean desk policy. Encourage a clean desk policy for all offices during non-business hours. Require a clean desk policy in high security areas. Cleaning and maintenance. Cleaning and maintenance should be done during times when responsible company supervisors are present to monitor such activity. Disposal of competitive information. Competitive information must be destroyed when no longer needed. Each work area must have adequate shredding capabilities or controlled disposal functions. Make each functional area responsible for verifying that competitive information is properly disposed. Communications. Easily accessed and intercepted telecommunications present a highly vulnerable and lucrative target for anyone interested in obtaining competitive information. Increased usage by businesses of these links for bulk computer data transmission and electronic mail makes telecommunications intercept efforts cost effective for intelligence collectors worldwide. U.S. companies should assume that all overseas telecommunications are intercepted, recorded, and organized into reports and reviewed for economic intelligence. Button up all competitive information communications to maintain their competitive edge. Threats. U.S. companies should be aware of, and sensitize their employees overseas to, the fact that all foreign telephone systems are either owned or controlled by the host government. This allows the government to easily monitor transmissions of selected U.S. corporations. Intelligence agencies of third-party nations, terrorists, and criminals monitor electronic transmissions. Business and technical data obtained from U.S. corporations may be, and often are provided to, foreign competitors and potential customers. Personal information obtained may be used to kidnap executives for financial gain or political purposes. Electronic equipment, such as facsimile machines, telephones, and desktop computers, may be altered to make electronic monitoring easier. Vulnerabilities. Telecommunications monitoring may be done at a phone company's switching facilities, phone lines may be tapped or bugged, or microwave transmissions may be intercepted anywhere between the two microwave towers. Telephones do not necessarily cease transmitting once they are hung up. Conversations taking place near a phone may be transmitted to the foreign state's telephone system switching facility and can be monitored anywhere between the phone and that facility. Many telecommunications transmissions will contain keywords used to identify information of interest to a third party. A keyword can be the name of a technology, product, project, or anything else that may identify the subject of the transmission. Encryption should be the first line of defense since it is easier for foreign intelligence services to monitor lines than to place bugs. However, encryption will provide little, if any, security if a careful examination for audio bugs elsewhere in the room is not conducted. Most international U.S. corporate telecommunications are not encrypted. Some countries do not allow encryption of telecommunications traffic within their borders, but it should be considered, where feasible, for any transmission of competitive information. About half of all overseas telecommunications are facsimile transmissions which, because they are emanations, may be intercepted by foreign intelligence services since many of the foreign telephone companies are foreign-owned. In addition, many American companies have begun using what is called electronic data interchange, a system of transferring corporate bidding, invoice, and pricing data electronically overseas. This type of information is invaluable to many foreign intelligence services that support their national businesses. Video conferences. The threat is essentially the same as that to other types of telecommunications. Adversaries can purchase or replicate specific equipment used by an American company and then either tap into the line or use other means to monitor both audio and video. Although encryption is available for some video conferencing installations, many countries do not allow any type of encryption and others allow only that type which they can break. Electronic transmissions. Most foreign common carriers are government-controlled or owned. Trade secrets data, marketing strategies, and personnel information that are discussed or sent over host country telephone lines are easily obtained by foreign interests. Electronic media path. Electronic data is recovered easiest when a signal is not multiplexed or mixed with other data signals, i.e., data transmitted from a telephone instrument to a telephone switch. Only a minimal investment is required to retrieve data not masked with other voice or data. For this reason, it is better to use standard dial-up versus dedicated lines. Data and voice that is rooted on major transmission paths, such as microwave or satellite transmission, have less likelihood of being monitored by hackers or low-cost monitoring operations, because the cost of sifting through such a volume of information to access one target is often cost-prohibitive. However, a well-financed intelligence gathering operation may find satellite or microwave transmissions the best intercept opportunity, since they can be monitored at great distances with little or no threat of detection. Suggested telecommunication countermeasures. Below is a list of suggested actions that may be taken in order to improve the security of your telecommunications transmissions. Whenever possible, use your corporate transmission facilities instead of those of the host government. Encrypt electronic transmissions whenever possible. Computer links, facsimile transmissions, email, and voice transmissions can all be encrypted. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, conducts validations of products for conformance to cryptographic standards for encryption and publishes the results quarterly in the validated products list. Subscriptions are available from National Technical Information Service, U.S. Department of Commerce, 5285 Port Royal Road, Springfield, Virginia 22161. NTIS.gov. Neutralize the vulnerability of telephones. A small, company-controlled switch installed within the facility can help ensure that conversations are not transmitted through handsets that are hung up, and also can serve to decrease the threat of covered line access. Avoid keywords or phrases that may be used by intelligence agencies and others to search recorded conversations for subjects of interest. Examples would be project names, product names, the names of persons of interest, example heads of state, CEOs, etc., and classification labels such as sensitive and company confidential. Positively identify all parties participating in phone conversations or receiving the facsimile transmissions. Always keep at least one phone and facsimile machine secured in a container equipped with a combination lock, and restrict access to the combination. This will help maintain the integrity of that equipment. Check connecting lines to telecommunication devices, telephones, computers, fax machines, etc., monthly to ensure that the line has not been replaced or modified by unauthorized personnel. Placing stickers on phones warning of hostile monitoring will be helpful to maintain awareness. Computer technology. Computers can pose enormous security problems. While they contain great volumes of information, they also concentrate it, and if not protected, they can make the task of the information thief much easier. When the facility is located overseas, the following additional security issues should be considered. Access. Because one cannot assume that employment practices are the same from country to country, it is not always possible to dictate what employees can do or where they can go. For example, in some countries you are not permitted to log the fact that a specific person accessed a specific data set at a certain time on a certain date, because such a log could be misused to inappropriately monitor work habits, speed, and productivity. Similarly, in some countries, there are resident fire marshals in the facility who do not work for the enterprise, but are authorized access to each and every part of the physical facility. Magnetic media control. Managers must be sensitive to mailing or physically carrying magnetic media between countries. The information on magnetic media may be vulnerable during interaction with the local customs authorities, which could be far more damaging to a business. In either mailing or carrying, accountability is lost once the material is turned over to local customs personnel to be cleared. Often, the time involved, as well as the other details of what cleared means, is not always spelled out to private industry. Distributed printer control. Physical access to printers used within a computing center is usually well controlled. However, small, powerful, printing facilities, which can be readily hooked up with printed output routed directly to such devices by any employee, are coming increasingly into use. It is strongly recommended that attention be given to ensuring that printed output may be picked up only by the information owner or his or her representatives. Printers are placed in a room having a controlled access system. Cellular PCs. The cellular portable computer is relatively new technology, having unique security considerations that one might easily overlook. The system is essentially a personal computer with an integrated modem, which is a device used to change signals understood by telephone technology into signals understood by computers, and vice versa. There is also a built-in cellular telephone that allows a person with a single action to place a call to a computer system, connect the personal computer to it, and interact with a host computer. Sometimes overlooked with this technology is the fact that cellular telephones use radio frequencies to communicate, are vulnerable to unauthorized interception, recording, and subsequent analysis. Monitoring. Equipment is readily available to foreign intelligence services and to the more sophisticated business espionage agent. Virus contamination and detection. Although it is a standard precaution to take special care when receiving a PC program from someone because of the possibility of virus contamination, it is exponentially greater during foreign travel. Answering the questions in the checklist below can identify opportunities to improve the security of your computer software and hardware. Computer security checklist. International travel. Does the local power supply match your system's requirements? Are electrical power transformers, filters, surge protectors, or uninterruptible power supply, UPS, units available to protect your equipment? Does the government impose restrictions on the import of computer hardware and software into the country? Environment. Will the computer be used in a low humidity area where damage from static electricity may be sustained? Are carpets treated? Are humidifiers available? Will the computer be used in a hot, dusty climate? Are office temperature controls sufficient? Are dust covers available? Physical security. Is the work area kept clear of soft drinks, coffee, and other liquids that, when accidentally spilled, may damage equipment? Are diskettes physically labeled and handled as directed by the manufacturer? Are sensitive diskettes sufficiently write protected to avoid accidental or malicious damage or destruction? Are backup copies stored offsite? Is the computer sufficiently protected from acts of sabotage, tampering, and theft? Are modems, particularly those with an automatic answer feature, disconnected or powered off when not in use? Are printer ribbons, sensitive printouts, and diskettes burned, shredded, or degaussed as appropriate to prevent inadvertent information disclosure? System security. Are spare, user-serviceable parts available in the event of failure? Are backup copies of software and data produced periodically? Has a backup system, contingency, been identified to continue critical operations in the event of a failure or disaster? Has it been tested? Are sufficient controls in place to prevent violation of manufacturers' copyrights and license agreements? Are software controls present to authenticate individual system users? Are passwords changed frequently and are they easily guessed? Is a security erase or file scrub program present on the system that will overwrite sensitive data on the hard disk when a file is deleted? Is it used? Are system hardware and software controls present to authenticate individual system users? Virus protection. Are software and data diskettes received from reliable, trustworthy sources? Is software received from outside sources scanned for computer viruses with current virus detection software? Computer security guidance. Under the Computer Security Act of 1987, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, develops standards and guidelines for the protection of sensitive information. For a listing of available documents, including ordering information, request a free copy of Publications List 91 from the following: CSL Publications Technology Building, Room B64, National Institute of Standards and Technology, U.S. Department of Commerce, Gaithersburg, Maryland 20899. NIST.gov. Effects of telecommunications on computer security. Telecommunications technology provides for electronic highways that now enable a person to directly access a computer system on another continent. Many U.S. corporations are dependent for their very survival on data being stored and processed on these computer systems. It is therefore mandatory that access control security software and procedures are implemented for any computer interfacing with a network or telephone system. Hacking into computers is now a standard tool for those involved in espionage and computer crime. Once an intruder has gained entry, he or she may be able to view, change, or destroy valuable company data and information. Electronic terrorism, placing a corporation's information assets at risk, also is possible. Consider the following tips to reduce the possibility of unauthorized access through networks. Apply access control software and procedures to the corporation's networks, keep the intruder off the highway. Ensure that the corporation's computer systems are protected. Mandate that all users change passwords at least once every 60 days, allow no more than 3 consecutive invalid passwords before suspending a user ID, and ensure that all passwords are at least 6 characters in length. Also, encourage employees to use passwords that do not relate to their lives, names of family, pets, sports teams, etc. Hackers often gain entry by simply guessing passwords. Control the phone numbers to the corporation's networks and computer systems as competitive information. Minimize their distribution and notify corporate employees that the numbers should be guarded. Test corporate networks for the existence of unauthorized modems that could provide access to eavesdroppers. Encrypt computer-to-computer sensitive transmissions, including electronic mail. Require all personnel to agree in writing before they are granted access to corporate networks and computer systems, that they will keep competitive information confidential, and that they will abide by the corporation's information protection standards. At home. Many of the same principles that apply to maintaining a safe and secure office apply equally to a residence. These elements will vary depending on the foreign environment and the associated risk factors. As a general rule, competitive information should not be taken home. However, should it become necessary, the level of protection afforded competitive information in the home must be equal to or greater than the standard of protection it is afforded in the office. A favorite technique of information thieves is the examination of trash containers. Consequently, the disposal of competitive information should not be done at home. Such materials should be transported to the workplace where they may be properly destroyed. Home Security Checklist. Access to residential buildings where competitive information is located must be limited to only authorized persons. This will require appropriate locking devices and an alarm system that will detect an attempted intrusion and alert authorities and other responsible parties. A specific area or areas within the residence should be designated for working on competitive information. Access should be limited to authorized family and service personnel. Such information, when left unattended, should be secured in an appropriate container. Control of the keys for these containers should be limited. Cleaning activities should be done only when competitive information items are cleared from the area, secured, or when the area is monitored by the owner, custodian, or user of the information. Residences and residential buildings should have appropriate access controls to restrict unauthorized persons and vehicles. Locking devices on exterior windows and doors. Intrusion control alarm systems where possible. Procedures for the positive identification of visitors and utility personnel prior to entry. Within the residence, the work area should include the following life and safety equipment: flashlight, first aid kit, emergency radio and/or cellular phone, fire and smoke alarms, safe haven. Specific areas for competitive information work should include limited access to only authorized persons, lockable desk and computer equipment and files, procedures imposed for access safeguards on computer equipment, storage of authorized company software on designated computer, an appropriate shredder, limited cleaning conducted only in the presence of the employee or other responsible person, business travel. Travel with a laptop computer. Business personnel who travel should adopt normal and prudent computer safeguards while traveling. Never leave a laptop unattended while in an airport terminal, checking in and out of hotels, or at a business location. Operate a computer while in public areas such as airport waiting rooms, cafeterias, or snack bars. Check a laptop with luggage. Laptops should always be stowed in carry-on baggage that will stay with the traveler at all times. Check a laptop in a temporary airport or train station storage locker even for a short time. Working in hotels with a PC. Hotel rooms are not secure. Leaving important company information in your room, even in a locked briefcase or PC, is an invitation for material to be copied or photographed while you are out. Hotel vaults are not much better. Foreign intelligence officers can gain access without you becoming aware of the compromise. Reduce hard copy material as much as possible and carry what you must take on your person, possibly on disk, or secure it in a company vault. U.S. business travelers should not assume that the U.S. standards in telecommunication security will be the case when traveling overseas. The quality of service, as well as the technical standards and conventions used, vary dramatically from country to country. Scientific conferences. Historically, scientific conferences and trade association meetings have been targeted by some foreign intelligence agencies. Today these meetings are still targeted, but the goal is to learn economic information that will improve the position of our foreign competitors. Individuals collecting this type of information may be managers, corporate officers, salespeople, and other business people, scientists, engineers, and other technical personnel. There is a growing trend for foreign corporations to employ former intelligence officers for industrial work. Protect yourself by Practicing discretion and remembering that not only time, but information, is money. Eavesdropping. Information of competitive value should not be discussed in public places. Discussions on airplanes are overheard by those around you. Eavesdropping can result in gathering meaningful information in a radius of 6 to 8 seats. Recent revelations in the media specifically mention valuable information gathered by eavesdropping on conversations held on aircraft and in bars and restaurants. Destruction of information waste. Keep unwanted material until you can dispose of it securely. Paper should be burned or shredded. If shredded, the type of shredder should cut horizontally and vertically. Floppy disks should be cut in small pieces and discarded. Necessary communications. Avoid sending facsimiles or conducting sensitive conversations on local or international telephone lines. Fax, telex, and data systems are all vulnerable to interception, particularly in overseas hotels. On important issues, go to the extra trouble of identifying company travelers for the purpose of carrying information rather than entrusting it to less secure electronic means. Be alert. Be aware of new acquaintances who probe for information or attempt to place you in a compromising situation. In an unusual situation, have an American colleague present. The watchword in travel while in foreign countries is discretion. Additional information. oecd.org/dsdi/st/it/secur/prod/priv-n, Guidelines on the Protection of Privacy and Transborder Flows of Personal Data. For a more detailed discussion, review the expanded version of Guidelines for Protecting U.S. Business Information Overseas, available through the Overseas Security Advisory Council. Bureau of Diplomatic Security. Overseas Security Advisory Council. Department of State. 2201 C Street NW. Washington, D.C. 20520. 202-647-3666. Travel.state.gov.